Hi, I'm Antonio Centeno. I'm one of the founders of High Speed Low Drag. Today I'm going to be talking with you about the perfect business card. Now, a lot of guys getting out, they've never even owned a business card. I think maybe the closest they've ever, I don't even know if they have to do this at the basic school anymore, but when I was a young Marine officer, we had to actually have calling cards. And there's a great article of The Art of Manliness that talks about this if you want to learn more. But I think calling cards actually are pretty darn smart. The reason you took calling cards, if you don't know this, is that whenever you would visit, let's say, a general's house, or anytime you were going to a new base, you were always invited to, the general would host an event to welcome the new officers or the senior enlisted, and you would have a calling card in which it would have your basic contact information, your name, so that the hostess, she could actually thank you for coming. It was just a common courtesy thing. But many of us, in many parts after we leave, we're going to need something similar to that because we're going to be meeting people that want to offer us an opportunity, want to get to know us better, want to follow up with us. And that's the key of the perfect business card, is that it allows people to follow up with you. So I'm going to give you 5 tips, 5 things that you want to create or have in your cards, and use them, but make sure that you get these as soon as possible, because when you need them, you won't have time. And a lot of times, a lot of these companies need a little bit of a lead time. Yes, you can go to a place that can maybe do them in just a couple hours, but they're going to be usually subpar quality and you're going to pay for them, versus if you plan ahead, all of a sudden you may have to wait 10 days, but you're going to pay a lower price, you're going to get a lot more of them, and you're going to usually get better quality. And if they make a mistake, you'll be able to catch it. So number one, first thing you want to do whenever looking for a business card is understand the purpose of that card. So if you're just transitioning out and you're going to be looking for work, well, you want a card that lets people know what your unique skills are, keep it very basic, but also has your contact information. And I mean, that's really the purpose. It's just a way for them to be able to follow up. So even if it's just simply your name, your email, your phone number, and, you know, a basic little blurb about you, or your motto, or something about that represents you, or that you know you're going to talk about, that works. And that's better than nothing. That's better than writing down or trying to really quick capture information in the phone, but still having a card is very important. But first, know the purpose of that card. Number 2, understand that you can keep it really simple. So what I mean by simple, make sure it's readable. Don't put on too much information. I said that you can put some of your business skills, some of the things that make you employable, some of the things that would make you attractive to whoever you're trying to get in front of. Well, don't go overboard. I remember I used to have a card, one of my first business cards. I had almost my entire business listed on the back of it, had another, I mean, we used both sides of the card. The problem with that is that anytime someone wanted to write information after they met me, there was no place to write it on the card. So keep it simple. Keep it readable. Make sure you use a font which isn't super fancy, and one that, I mean, you want to be able to read it. Don't make it so small that you need a magnifying glass to look at this thing. Another thing is think of your best contact information. So don't, if you've got multiple email addresses, use your professional email address. Don't use the one, you know, father of 5 kids, or, you know, what makes the grass grow, blood, you know, don't use that email address. Come on, guys. You know, use, you know, devil dog forever. You know, you don't want to use those email addresses. Use professional ones from Gmail, from Outlook. Avoid Yahoo, AOL. They don't have the most positive connotation. Another thing you want to think about is make sure you've got a good phone number that's not going to change, so you don't have to reprint the business card, and keep it clean. Now, number 3, focus on the accuracy of the information. I kind of alluded to this, but if you've been changing email addresses, if you've been changing phone numbers, if you've been changing, you've got your physical address on there and you've been changing that, you want to make sure it's the most accurate information. What you do not want to do is get 1,000 cards printed up, and then all of a sudden you've changed your number, you change your address, you've got to go through and mark through that, and, you know, basically you're pen writing on your own cards, updating that information. One, it's going to increase the chance of an inaccurate information being passed. And it may be, I mean, you may write that number beautifully and all that other stuff, but if it gets wet, all of a sudden it smudges, and they can't do what is the most important thing, which is follow up with you. So make sure that the information is accurate, that it's up to date. If you've been working for a company, let's say you've been out for a while, you had a great job, now you're with a new company, you don't want to be taking around your old business cards because, yeah, the phone number may not work anymore, and the main phone number may go to that other another company, and they're going to end up trying to contact you, and they're going to say, hey, this guy doesn't work here anymore, and they're going to get hung up on. So make sure it is accurate. Number 4, make sure it's professional. So I talked about this on email addresses. Yes, you want to make sure you've got a professional email address. Also make sure the card is clean. I know guys that take business cards, they stick them in their pockets, they forget about them, and they pull them out a week later, a month later, and they've got smudges all over them. They're bent up. Invest in a case, keep it clean, keep the cards in a place, know where you can find them. Also have a system for handing out cards. You may be going to a number of job fairs, networking events. Whenever I'm out, I've got a system. I wear usually my sports jacket. On the sports jacket, on my right side are my business cards. My left side are business cards people are giving me. So I take out cards from my right and I hand them off. I take people's business cards and I put them in my left pocket. That system works out well because oftentimes if you're handing off cards and you don't have a system, you're gonna give somebody else's business card and they're gonna walk away. They're gonna say, wow, that was a great guy. You know, do I have his, where did his card go? And who is this person? You know, so many cards are going back and forth. You want to eliminate the chance of error. Have a system, keep it professional. Now, number 5, the last thing is make sure you have the business cards with you. Make sure that you have plenty of them. There's nothing wrong with getting 1,000 business cards. Now, make sure they're accurate. Make sure they're the message you want to send. But I go to events all over the time. I speak at events, and nothing is more frustrating than when you make a great connection, and guess what? That person has no business card. They ran out the first day. If you know you're going to be meeting a lot of people, going to a job fair, you need to take plenty of business cards and set up systems so that it's actually hard for you to run out of business cards. What I do is on all of my sports jackets, because whenever I go to events, I'm wearing a sports jacket, I've got business cards hidden on the inside of my jacket in hidden pockets. Literally every sports jacket I have has probably about 100 cards on it, you know, at any given point. And anytime I'm going through and setting up my clothing, I'm always checking and making sure I've got my hidden stashes. That way, if I ever run out, and it has happened that I've forgotten my case of business cards, so I also have a case which I normally pack because it's on my checklist, but I've forgotten that case. And guess what? In my sports jackets, I've got those business cards. Another thing is in your vehicle, in your glove compartment, have 50 to 100 cards always right there because you can always go out to your vehicle unless you fly someplace. But a lot of times we're driving, we go to an event, we meet somebody really neat. It's like, okay, well, I've got some business cards in my car. Let me grab it for you whenever, you know, I can just go grab it really quick. Another thing to think about is actually keeping a few in your wallet. Now, these may get bent up a little bit. Usually they're not going to get smudged though. And this is keep like 3 or 4 in there. These are, you know, last resort, but most of the time we've got our wallet with us. So you got a few business cards in there, boom, you'll be covered. Okay, guys, so hopefully you can use these 5 tips. Remember, plan ahead, have these, because the whole purpose of the business card is so the other person can follow up or you can follow up with them, and there's that nice exchange. Don't worry too much about it. I know if you ever watched American Psycho, the guy's going crazy looking at the different, the color and the font. I don't think you need to pay attention that much to your business card. It's not a deal breaker, but it's just one of those things that you can control. So if you can control, do the best job, make sure it's done right, and then because you have plenty of other things to worry about. All right, guys, so if you want more information, go to High Speed Low Drag. You guys know we've got that awesome podcast on iTunes, absolutely free. If you want to actually mastermind with me, John Dumas, Tom Workis, come check out High Speed Elite. We're really proud of this. I mean, this is a great community of guys just like you, all veterans who are in there making a difference, going for greatness, and we're doing this as a community because we're social beings. It's a lonely, drag out there, and it's really cool. If you just go back to when you first started, when you went through boot camp, when you went through OCS, when you went through the academy, whatever you did, when you're going through that stuff, what made it great? The people around you. And it's the same thing out here in the civilian world. And that's why communities like what we have at High Speed Elite, or maybe, I don't know, your local VFW, or, whatever community you can find, take advantage of. And that's it, guys. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.